Today I'm going to do something different from what I've done before, but it's going to just be as helpful as all my other videos are. And what I'm going to do is review mainstream media's views on fat loss, or at least the people that they allow onto their shows. And I'm going to talk about what I think about it, whether I agree, whether I disagree. I think if this goes well, I'm going to make this into some sort of series where I review certain videos, so that really the idea of it is not to bash people, not to be offensive to people, not to ridicule people. The idea of this is so that we can see what someone else has said, and is that true? Is it not true? And do I agree? Do I disagree? And then the overall idea is that we can basically all be more knowledgeable, learn more, get better results by watching these videos and learning what the truth is. The video we're going to be reviewing today is titled, "Could fat shaming help people lose weight?" Or basically, is it okay to fat shame people, or should we be fat shaming people to help people lose body fat? This is by the YouTube channel Good Morning Britain, and strangely they turn their comment section off, and so that's something they choose to do. I hate that when I see a YouTube channel who turns their comment section off, because you have to go and actually go in the back end and do that. And the reason they do that is because they're not open to criticism. They don't want people to have an opinion on a certain topic. So I don't like that from the get-go, but we're going to review the video and see what I think of it. If you don't know, my name's James and I help people lose body fat and build muscle. You can subscribe and click the bell if you're interested in those topics. But the reason I'm watching Good Morning Britain is because I am from Britain. So that's why we're reviewing this mainstream media outlet and the topic. So for this video, they have two people on the show. One is a woman who is obese, someone that struggles with their weight. The other is a fat loss coach. So we have the two arguments, and we're going to talk about each point.
I think we should empower doctors to be able to tell the truth. Because listen, let's face it, if you are too fat, you are on death row. You are on death row. We know that being too fat means that it can trigger cancer. And by the way, cancer research, we're told they were fat shaming a few months ago for warning us about it. The world's gone mad. Die. The world's gone mad. Stroke, heart disease, the list goes on.
Straight away, I agree. We've become a generation of offended people, and everything that is said is offensive, and we're not allowed to say certain things anymore. We've become a generation that is offended by everything. We're not a strong generation anymore. We're becoming weaker and weaker, and I can only see it getting worse. If I'm not good at something, or I've done something wrong, I want to be told about it, and that's the way we should all be. We should all want to be told if we're doing something wrong or we could improve, because that's the point of it. It gives us chance to improve. By being told that we're not good at something actually gives us an opportunity for a mentally strong person to say, actually that person has a point, I'm going to be better now as a result of that criticism. A large portion of this debate is about whether doctors should be able to tell patients that you're fat, that you're overweight. He's saying that yes, the doctors should be able to say that, and she is saying that no, actually it's not a good idea for doctors to say that. The way I see it is, why is it okay for a doctor to tell you that you have an STD or cancer or any health issue that you have? It's okay for the doctor to say that. But if you're overweight, obese, or have some extra body fat that you need to lose, why is it not okay for the doctor to tell you about that health issue? The doctor should be able to say that to you, and it's very important, in my opinion, that the doctors do say that to people and be more stern, more assertive with people. Especially when you factor in that being overweight or obese is half of the reason why people get cancer, why people have all these other health issues, is because they're overweight or obese. From my experience helping people lose body fat, people want to lose weight, people know they need to lose weight for the most part. Some people don't, but they don't know how to, and they certainly don't believe that they can. And so I think those two things need to be part of the conversation, teaching people that first of all you can, and making them believe that they can, and then actually showing people how to do it. In my opinion, the doctor should actually be saying to these people, look, you're overweight, you're obese, as long as you understand that your quality of life is worse, and also you're going to die younger, you're not going to see your kids grow up as much as you could have, you're not going to have that experience of life because you will die younger by being obese or overweight. I think the doctor needs to explain that to people, and then people need to make their own decision, and I think most people would then, being told that to their face, would make a change. She then steps in and says this, so let's take a look at it.
So speaking from experience, I avoided the doctors for 7 years because of a bad experience. That to me is
What was the
detrimental.
experience? What do they do?
So I actually went for dandruff and got told that I should lose weight.
So she's gone to the doctors with dandruff, and the doctors helped her with that issue. And as he's helped her with that issue, he's noticed another issue, which is clearly she is obese. She needs to lose some body fat, and he's seen that issue. Now, why shouldn't the doctor be able to tell you another health issue? That's the person's job, whether it's a male doctor or female doctor. It's their job to tell you health issues. If you go to the doctors because you know you've got cancer but your foot is triple the size, and the doctor sees that your foot's triple the size, does that mean that he or she shouldn't say anything because you're not there for that reason, you're there for another reason? No, of course not. If the doctor sees your foot is triple the size, it's a health issue, he's going to talk about it, he's going to try and give you some sort of solution or help. The same as if you're obese, that doctor should point that situation out and try and give you some help with it. Let's take a look at the next part.
But support is also very important.
Support is important.
Inspiration, feeling like you can reach out, feeling like the support network is there. If you go,
Come on, Gemma.
If you go for help.
No, hang on a minute. The government has spent millions on educating the public on how to lose weight. There is support. And also, no, hang on a minute, because GPs will refer people to a well-known slimming organisation to help them to lose weight.
I agree that we need support, or need to give support to certain groups of people. But really what we need is individuals who are experts at fat loss, such as the guy who's talking here, such as people like me. We need those people to actually teach these people who are overweight and obese how to lose that weight. Now, I believe that should be the individual who pays for that service, or even uses a free YouTube channel like this. I have so many videos on fat loss that you can learn from on this YouTube channel that don't cost anything. The other solution is that in England we have the NHS. The NHS pays certain fat loss coaches to help certain groups of people lose body fat. But I don't think the government's way of support is a good idea in most cases for everything, to be honest. And when it comes to fat loss, the World Health Organization or the government guidelines, they're not really great anyway. They're not really good. It's not really good advice that they give. It's not really a strategic approach that you really need if you want to make that change.
I actually reached out for help, and I got it. He sent me to actually an NHS support.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And
we give support to people that suffer with things like mental health, and you can argue for the most part that those people didn't do that to themselves. But when it comes to gaining body fat, you wasn't born fat. Gaining fat, body fat, is not genetic at all. It's got no relationship to genetics. It's all about what you did to yourself, and you have to take responsibility. This is a life thing. This is not a fat loss thing. This is a bigger picture. When you mess up in life, whatever you've done, whether it's a poor relationship choice, a poor career decision, just a bad decision in general, maybe drink driving, and there's so many scenarios, you have to man up, or as a woman, take responsibility for your actions. You chose to eat. What was you doing for the last 2 years that it took you to get obese? Getting obese doesn't just happen overnight. It's not something that you wake up and all of a sudden you're obese. It takes years of constantly eating too many calories every day to get to that point. And so there is a point where the support is, we need to take responsibility for it. It's your fault for getting in that scenario, and in my opinion, it's your job to do something about it. It's the doctor's job to tell you that you need to do something about it and possibly offer some scenario or solution to the problem. This next part does infuriate me, so let's have a little listen and then I'll give some thoughts on what I think.
Britain has become lazy. Britain is a nation that is now normalising fat.
I couldn't agree more once again, and I really like this advice, and it's rare that I give praise, but I really like this advice and what he says here. And it's true, not just Britain are being lazy, the whole world is being lazy. And yes, we work longer hours, but really that's just bullshit. It is excuses. We have 168 hours a week. We sleep 8 hours a night. That's what, 56 hours a week, something like that, whatever the numbers is, it doesn't matter. We might work 40 hours a week, the average person. That doesn't mean some people don't work 30, it doesn't mean some people don't work 60 hours a week. But the point is, we have time to eat the correct foods. It takes 1 hour a day to eat the correct foods. It's not difficult to do, it's your responsibility, and we are lazy. We are normalizing being fat. We have been for the last decade or two. It's become a normal thing to be overweight, to be obese is okay.
Now, when you say that, before you finish that, when you say become lazy, people watching this morning are thinking, are you kidding me? We work longer hours than ever before. We've got one, two, three jobs. Parents are doing it.
Excuses.
No, it's not excuses.
When Kate Garraway here says that you might be busy, I understand that everybody's busy, but let me ask you this. It's actually about priorities. So, how many hours a week do you watch TV? How many hours a week do you go out socialising with friends? How many hours a week do you do things that you don't need to do, that you do just because they're fun? And that's the point. You've not made it a priority. You're not busy. You do have time. Everybody has time. In fact, if you don't think you have time, leave a comment on this video and we'll go through your schedule and I'll prove to you that you have far more time than you think you do. So all of these extra things such as Netflix and I can go on and on and on, they're not important. It's not that you shouldn't do them, it's that you need to take responsibility for your own life, for your own health, and health is the most important thing in life. Health is more important than work, health is more important than everything. Without it, you either have a poor quality of life or you die. You're not here without your health. Your health is the only thing that's keeping you alive. So it's the most important thing. Everybody should put priority on it, and other things like Netflix and going out with friends should come behind health. Another thing I would add, and I'm not going to go deep into this because it's really not that relevant, but it is sort of relevant, is people are working 2-3 jobs, but a lot of the reason that people are working 2 or 3 jobs is their own fault. They buy a car that they can't afford. They buy a £500 car monthly payment every month when they earn £1,500 a month. They buy a house that is far too expensive for what they can actually afford to try and impress their friends because they're insecure. They think that people will like them more by having a nice car, having a nice house. Most of these things are your own fault. In my opinion, it's selfish to, I mean, you can blame your kids, but it's selfish to blame your kids. If you haven't got your health in check, in my personal opinion, I think it's selfish to have a child. I don't think you should have a child until you're a healthy person. I think it's a selfish thing to do. One big lesson that I take away from this is your life, my life, everybody's life comes down to the quality of decisions that you make. If you make bad decisions, you're going to have a bad life. You make good decisions, you have a good life. It really is that simple. So, half of the people that need all this support, the only reason they need the support is because they did it to themselves by making poor decisions in their life. Another thing is when you're using the strategic approach that I teach and that so many other people teach different approaches, you stick to, 15 minutes of exercise a day, and the nutrition is the most important thing to lose body fat, but it really doesn't take that many hours out of your day to do. So there's no reason that you can't do it. It's getting a little heated, so let's watch the next bit.
So to me, personally, I think that it's psychological, and I think until we get our mind right, the rest doesn't follow.
Yes, we need to support people, but we also need to be more direct with people. We suffer from can't be bothered-itis a lot mentally as well. We cannot be bothered.
What do you think?
My point is you don't fix the mind first, you fix the body first. They've actually got this the wrong way round, because when you do something with your body, the mind will follow. It always works that way. If you don't feel like working out, you don't feel like you can lose the body fat, you get somebody that knows that can teach you how to do it, and then you start implementing those things whether you feel like it or not. You eat the correct foods, you eat in the calorie deficit, you do the exercise, all of the things. This is not an actual lesson here, but the point is you do those things and then the mind follows. You start to lose the weight, you start to feel more confident, you start to have more energy, you feel better about yourself, you like yourself more. So it's not about fixing the mind first, it's about doing the things that you're supposed to do, using discipline, whether you want to do it or not, and then the mind will follow.
And the other thing is, we cannot have, a society where we all sit round and sing, if you're happy and you're fat, clap your hands. We cannot be doing that.
So the final point that he just made is what sums it up for me. All of these things are important to talk about, but yes, doctors should tell you you're fat, people should tell you you're fat, and suggest that you do something about it. Tough love is always what gets the job done, in my opinion. Being kind to people, although being a kind person in general is important, being nice to people doesn't work. If you have an employee, for example, that you are just nice to and let them do what they want, people will just take advantage of you. If you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. So it's important to be assertive and hold people accountable, and you should hold people around you accountable. If you've got anything you want to discuss or anything that you want me to help you with for free, just comment on this YouTube video and I'll get right back to you.